This is the playground experience. Doesn't April look like she's guilty of something? She comes on giggling and laughing already. All right, this is the playground experience live, and we have here my lovely co-hosts, two of them, Kathy D and also April Williams. Yay! This is the playground experience where we come here to play with the different energies and to get to know about what's going on in our journey and how we can become better divinely. So let's talk about those energies as we warm up and get ready for our special guest that we're going to have on today. So again, let me just chat in. I know with me, it's been a lot, especially with trying to adjust body wise. Things that's going on with me as far as my senses, which it seems like, again, I'm getting rerouted and changed over so that I can stop relying on other places, but then also go back into my heart space and relying upon that as being the true source of me being able to understand my gift. Really understand. I've been kind of attracting Netflix a lot of witch movies. I've been looking at which all had the same thing of one learning their own power. So I said, okay, what's the theme here? So I don't know how powerful they are, but learning how powerful they are underneath circumstances or chaos or things that happen. So I'm figuring the universe is pretty much telling me about that. That's what's happening. I'm getting pressurized like a diamond so I can be able to really, truly know who I am is divinely. So that's pretty much what's going on with me. What's going on with you, Kathy D?
Just a lot of triggers that are coming up from the DM and then being turned around though to be lessons for me.
Okay.
Things I need to see and understand, and one of them is being in a box,
Okay.
not being allowed to be who I am. And you would think by 48 I would have figured out who I am, but yeah. It was a real eye opener earlier this week. So that the tiredness, I'm really
Yeah.
feeling like the real heaviness with the but I haven't had a lot of the Mercury retrograde, like communication being crazy. Communication's been pretty good because I'm not putting any expectations on it. It's just going to go where it's going to go. I mean, right down to, well, if they answer, they answer. If they don't, they don't. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, that kind of stuff. It's a lot more go with the flow is happening. Um, the, the hot hands and feet again, going through some of the same stuff again, just the energy building up, but then getting signs and being shown how to use that energy, where before it was just learning to get it to cycle through my body. Now it's showing, okay, now you know how to cycle it through, now this is how you use it. So
Okay.
that's what's been going on.
And April,
Lovely.
oh, I'm sorry. And April,
That
what's happening with you?
that is definitely the theme. The upgrades consistently, um, allowing for more vulnerability, and it's almost like it's textural, like how much I can feel spirit and the divine coming in and having that balance. I love it. I've been getting all these confirmations about my gift. People be talking about, oh my God, I just said that a year ago. Oh, look at that on the news. It's like, yes. And so once I finally accepted, yes, you're doing this. Yes, you have to skip. All of a sudden, it's like, okay, now you know. And then you get like a whole level up. And Kathy D was talking about her symptoms with the hot hands and feet. I, it's more like a stream. So like a person will be coming and this is all for you, or I just got all this and this is for you, like it, and like the numbers are funny, right? Because you know how angels be talking, they do not stop talking, they love it. And you know what, I love it too. Secret, secret, not so secret. Keep talking to me, angel, showing me the signs and the getting the, yes, I'm getting it. Oh, how sweet. What you said, get promoted. Woo.
You were
So
promoted.
I
Whoop, whoop.
am, and the radiance is coming through, like in terms of my light body showing through as beauty, right? Because before, because we were going through so much muck, you could see it, like you can almost watch our show and see how we have become more radiant
Mhm.
over the last year and a half almost.
Mm.
And so it's just been a really, really great acceptance of goddesshood, right?
Mhm.
Acceptance of the divine within our bodies. And yes, I heard you, Kathy, when you said by 40 I should, and I was like, you know what? You already started. There's no shoulda, coulda, woulda. Don't shit all over yourself, because I be shitting on me too. Let's not lie. It kind of smells like a whole lot of shit up in here. Just kidding. But yeah, Spirit's got jokes today. We are on time. We are on time. Mercury retrograde has been doing a lot of funny stuff with the whole technology, but it hasn't actually messed with vibration. And I feel like I'm like, I want to say this, but I'm going to say it a different way. Uneffable with, you know, like you can try to enter in my space. You can try to throw me out of alignment, but it's not going to happen because my spirit team, my guardian angels, all of that has just got me in alignment. And then twin energy's been super duper strong. He's been coming in. I've been pissed, for lack of a better way, and that's good because it's part of the process, right? Because anger itself is a fuel that allows you to kind of get your butt into gear sometimes. I mean, not everybody needs the same fuel. We each are different people. Like I'm sure a lot of you are feeling what's going on with you in your upgrades, or being pushed towards a certain calling, or even just attracted to watching a certain type of um, television type of show. So what's going on with you guys out in the lovely land of Earth?
In the
You're
3D land. Yeah.
Oh,
So
my businesses have been kicked up in gear, and it's been serious about getting the financial stuff in alignment so that it's a process, so it's easy, right? Because before, finances and financial stuff used to kind of overwhelm me or easily trigger me, right? But now I'm in a state of, oh, I can accept all this information, and I know how to work with this, and I know how to balance these things. So it's really nice coming into that
Mhm.
space.
Yeah, I've gotten more clients and more interest, and just kind of seem to wind up in places where they're talking about past life regression or something like that. And people start saying, I'd really like to have that done. And I'm like, wow, convenient. I do that, and, so just being in one chat group, I wound up with 3 bookings. And then out of the blue, local lady called me and said, you're a life coach and hypnotherapist, right? And I said, yes, I am. And she said, I need to book a session with you. I'm like,
That's
well, all right.
awesome.
that is
So
That's
awesome.
yeah,
awesome.
That is
but
awesome.
that's, that kind of comes too from some of that, as you've been in union with yourself, and you're very accepting of that union. And then as you move toward the next step in union, um, that before, where it would be like, what would you do if the DM showed up at your door? And most of us, would have been like freaking out and, throwing towels over things and, not letting them in. And now it's kind of like one of those. It would be like, well, here, hold this. Can you take a note about this? You need to learn about this, because we're going to be doing, it now it's like that spawning on your mission. It's not a where I just want to sit and look at him because he's
Right.
so cute. Now it's like, oh, we got things to do. Let's go. You know, it's like this, almost like, as if, I mean, we know time doesn't exist, but it's like the universe is giving us a kind of like a timeline, like, okay, you got to pick up the pace. We don't have time for this.
Right. And speaking of mission, I think that's a beautiful way to segue. Here's our special guest here,
Oh.
that we have our own Deborah Risper. She is here because, again, we should be, as far as our divine feminine self, we're moving into those energies of mission. And like you said, we're getting this call, especially this year for us more than ever, to get in line with what's been our passion, what has been really what we wanted to actually do. We might have thought about that as a little girl, and maybe be like, what happened to that dream of me being a psychologist? I was supposed to be that, but then I turned out to be a teacher. And then what happened with that? And I thought I was supposed to be a fashion designer, but then I didn't. But maybe that calling that we had when we were a child was really found itself morphing into something different. We didn't know what it was, but we're at this point that it's like, yes, I have this calling, I have this gift, I have this talent, but I don't know how to actually do that. And so as divine feminines, which is our inside, our most of what we're dealing with now, is we're trying to find how we can take that energy and move into our alpha state, which is our divine masculine energies, which is being in our leadership and our role in the world, and how we can truly step into being our light workers. And so all that stuff comes together. So I wanted to bring in Deborah, which is also my former student. I've known her, what we going on, 25 years? Is it 20? Is it that
Probably
long?
something, probably something
Oh
in
my
that nature, but they
God.
don't need to know the number because
They
they
don't
will
need to
try
know the number,
they'll
but
try
we're
to
still
calculate how
telling
old you
I was
are and
like,
how
what's she
old I
been
am.
teaching since she was 5?
I'm thinking they were
Three,
like, she was like
three.
in
It's
the three
literally.
T
I think it
class
was
and she
three.
was in the 2T class, you know.
Right,
Yes,
right.
that
There you
was.
go. There you go.
Yeah,
There you go. So
gotta
she was
be, gotta
very,
be.
very first class I taught. Very first. So that tell you there. So
Absolutely.
yeah, and so she's still spunky and always a go getter. She ever was. I'll tell the story later about Deborah, how special, how I knew she was a go getter. About I'll share that later on about that. But this is
Oh my
a little bit.
gosh.
I tell you, wait, I'm a happy teacher mom over here, so I got to
I
tell that.
know. Divine Sunshine, my Mama B. Thank you so much for having me. I acknowledge Kathy and the beautiful April here on this platform. Listen, listening to you guys made me like go back to my pattern because I got that pattern app, y'all. And the pattern app, it snatches my edges every single time, okay? And it tells me about this renegade that we're in when we're talking about energies. And I had my therapy session today, and that kind of like ties into everything that I'm feeling. But I can coincide with what Kathy said. This business thing, I don't know what happened in this particular moon, whatever we're in right now, it's booming and it's popping, and it's allowing me to step into an area that I've always dreamed of since being a little girl. It's allowed me to fulfill some of my wildest dreams. I would never in a million years think that someone like myself would be on the cover of a magazine, and let alone my own magazine, and just to be able to have that positive reinforcement and the
That is
amazing
so
women and
cool.
energy around. Thank you. And having those amazing women around me, because the thing about me is that I love to showcase other women, their positivity, because I think that it's really much all about sharing that platform and that stage in that same amazing energy with those who desire to do the same.
Hmm.
I'm the underdog rooter at the end of the day. I'm rooting for those who people pass up all day long. And that's kind of my passion and my purpose. When it comes to this entrepreneurship thing, be it, being a, business coach, being a book coach, being an author, being a motivational speaker, being a bomb mom and a wife. I just inspire to, make sure that everybody that wants that positive energy, that positive reinforcement, and they want that platform, they absolutely have it. And so that's me in a nutshell. That's kind of what I stand for. And women empowerment is kind of what I live, breathe, and think all day long. Nothing to our men, because shout out to our men. We do definitely need them. They round us up. But when it comes to that women empowerment, that bond and sticking together is everything. And I think it's a positive reinforcement from the giants that a lot of us stand on the shoulders of right now. So.
Yeah, so just give us just a little bit about what is it that you specifically, some of your businesses or some of your missions, we'll call it mission because that is something that you bring information into the world. So what are some of the things that you have now, projects or things that you have now?
Absolutely. So my number one mission is to help you go from telling your story to selling your story. I believe I walked in the Harpo Studios about 7, 8 years ago, and Oprah had this frame up there that said that everyone has a story to tell. It's up to you when you tell it or how you tell it. And so inside in my mind, I feel that everyone has a story, and I feel that everyone has a story that it's like that caterpillar. And when you blossom into that thing, or you're ready to come out of that shell, then you become this big, beautiful butterfly. So my overall goal is to empower people to tell their stories, because sometimes we stricken ourselves and we hold ourselves down with those particular stories and experiences that we've had, and we don't realize why we're not going to the next level, and it's because we haven't released the baggage. I often think of our lives as a suitcase, and in that suitcase we're packing away a whole lot of things, right? And when in my day life I work for an airline, and so what happens when you get to our counter, right, is that you got this bag, and then you're thinking I'm going to get this free bag, but then they're like, no, no ma'am, no sir, it's actually overweight. And you're like, wait a minute, what you mean? And but that's how our lives is. And we want to get somewhere, we want to go somewhere, but we're stopped at the ticket counter now at this point with this baggage in our lives. And
Mhm.
um when we think about it, it's because we didn't pack light for our next journey or our next part of the destination. And so that kind of strickens us to get to the next place. And there is something that we must stop and do and acknowledge at that point, which is pretty much all that stuff that we packed away behind. And a lot of us deal with some things that I feel that our adversary or the enemy, you try to take and close our mouth on it and make us think that we're the only ones that's going through this. And the truth of the matter is that my sister next door, or my brother next door, is actually going through that exact same thing. And all it really takes is me to be courageous and be bold and to open up my mouth when I know it's time to open up my mouth. And in that same instance, be able to actually heal from what was hurting me and use that as a stepping stone and tool to be able to empower the world. So essentially, what I have going on right now is I have a fast track program. I am a publisher, so I have a fast track program that I bring around 4 times a year, so once a quarter. And that program is pretty much for those who know and know with their whole heart that they have a book inside of them and they need that reinforcement to get that thing done in 30 days. So this is a Write Your Way to 3K in 30-day program. In that program, I am the passenger in your seat, and I come with pretty much giving you the direction on which street to turn, but you actually have the actual force to drive fast or slow. But in this lane, we're driving and we have to get there in 30 days. And I am checking on you, giving you the strategy and the formula that I've used time and time again to produce my 4 books that I've already written in. What I always do when I also have any products, other products and or services I'm debuting or presenting. And this formula allows you to make money while you're writing that book, and allows that money that you're making to fund that particular book, because I know what it feels like to be a mom and a wife that is still having life happen while I'm producing masterpieces and things that I'm supposed to do in the world. So that's a lot of what I have going on. I spend a lot of my time on Clubhouse. If you guys haven't gotten on there, I spend a lot of my time on there teaching and converting those people that are in the room to becoming paid clients, and be able to step outside of that shell. And I find that amazing. And I'm going to hush after this because I'm a talker.
No, that's all
But I
right.
find I find that platform to actually be an amazing one, because people can see you show up all day long on social media with typing and writing, right? And but it's something about putting your voice to something that people can learn your authenticity and hear your passion, that sparks their purpose, and you help birth out what's actually inside of them. And so Clubhouse has been a tremendous and amazing platform for myself, my business, and many of my business partners that are there. And I love doing platforms like this because people get to see me, people get to hear me. And I think that your voice is so much powerful than anything, and people will essentially be interested in what you have next to offer. Um, Even if you don't speak it again and you put it on paper, they can still ultimately put your voice to that paper that they're going to read, which is the book.
And how
Mhm.
do we find out more or about this incubator, about
As
Clubhouse?
Clubhouse is an app. Clubhouse is for
Oh,
iPhone. Yeah, Clubhouse is for
oh, I'm
iPhone
confused.
only users, and it's by invite only. It's for the cool kids because I'm an iPhone user. I'm sorry, I'm a little biased, but I'm an iPhone user, so it's for the cool kids that have the iPhone. And if you have the iPhone or iPad, will do just fine too. If you want to cheat a little bit instead of your Droid, that's fine. But that is in your Apple Store or your Google Play Store, your Apple whatever, yeah, App Store or Google Play Store. You can always download those, but you do need someone to invite you there. But if you're interested in more information about my Write Your Way to 3K program, you can go to writeyourway to 3K.com, and that's where you'll get more information on that at this time. Or you can go to writethatbooknowpublishing.com, and I'm also on there as well. So you'll find that I have traditional publishing products and or services, as well as that fast track one. I'm a firm believer, guys, here that it doesn't take all day to do anything. And if your mind is made up, you're going to do it. So that is why I put that 30-day program in place for those whose mind is made up and they don't want a long, drawn out process, and they just want that quick, process to get it over with and get it off of the plate. And it's not to say that you won't have an amazing masterpiece as you would if you took your time in 60, 90, 120 days, whatever it took you, in a longer stretch. That doesn't say that you're going to get cheated out of that, but it says that I've now regurgitated something that I can always add to, if I can say that.
Okay, and you got some of the things that I know that you have. You got the magazine, you got the book
Hmm.
publishing thing. Was it some other ones? Because I know you're known as the serial entrepreneur. What am I? I'm missing something. Am I missing? Is that all?
Yeah, I have my own podcast, Discussions with Deborah, where I talk about business, family, faith, and those are pretty much essentially the topics that you'll hear me talk about. Motivation on the Discussions with Deborah platform. Look, I have to check and see what else I got too. You're right. I do have a women empowerment group called the Hustle Her Nation, and in that group is where you'll get the support for business when it comes to that. And what else do I have? I have a Sophisticated Soul Boutique. It's for the
I
woman
want.
that want to be sophisticated in her everyday walk. And then, of course, I have my books, which is a wives journal, which is called "You Are Not Alone." It's a wives journal to get back to self care. And then I have my anthology here, which is "Dear Daddy: A Letter from a Successful Businesswoman," which deals with myself and 9 other women who grew up in the home without a father physically there. We talked about our experience and our overcoming so that the girl that's probably in a home without a dad can actually dream again, can actually know that she's still loved, and actually still know that no matter what she's faced, she can actually conquer that thing, if she just sets her mind to it. And we give out some amazing steps and tools there. I have a vision board journal, and yeah, the vision board journal and the magazine. So I have essentially a lot of stuff, or a lot of things, if you can say that. And those platforms are created not just for myself, but because I want other women to be able to have that platform and ability to have that outlet, no matter what they're desiring to do. And I'll have some more stuff I'm working on, some more projects that I'm working on as far as books. You'll see more of that coming up really soon.
So you got, and that's the reason why I want them to see all of these extra things. I call it extra streams of ideas or innovation,
Multiple
multiple
streams are in.
innovation. So let's take
Absolutely.
all the way back to the board, back to the beginning. And like with so a lot of us on this twin flame, which is becoming divine, let's just call it that journey that we're trying to do to come back to BI in practice of integrity and wholeness back again. What makes us whole, which makes you complete doing all those different things. What motivated you? What was the first step that you had to in at the beginning state phase of all of this where you are now? What did you have to do with yourself spiritually for you to get to that point where you got all these extra streams?
Spiritually, I had to do the universal sign, which is surrender, and
Okay.
say that, okay, it's real. And I had to remove me and say that it's not about me. It's not me, my I. It's not about self. And it's not about being glorified or being, this person put on a big platform. It's about having the willpower to create more. And I believe that really much stemmed from sitting in your classroom as a little girl, not being subjected to my surroundings, and which the neighborhood I grew up in was a low income, impoverished neighborhood. And it just the mindset. And I believe that that's where we all get hung up and hooked up. We have access to quite just about anything that we want to have access to now with the internet around. But the thing is that we can read 1,000,010 motivation books. We can take 10,000 classes. We can go to 700 coaching sessions. We can go to Kathy for a reading. We can do any and all of that stuff, but it's essentially about making up in your mind and shifting the mindset from what we know, which then changes our perspective of what we see, and then essentially changes what we hear, and then what we accept in from an energy standpoint, because that's what it is. It's about the change up of the mindset, which then shifts your atmosphere. It shifts your world. And for me, I had to really much shift my mind to say that there is more than what I actually see right now. And I just have to now make up in my mind that I want that more, and which that's what I made up at an early age, that I want that more, and that I wanted to step outside of the box that I knew, which was AKA the zip code that I lived in.
Mhm.
And that's when I began to and not accept no for an answer. So when someone gives you no at one place, thank you kindly. Have a good day. Now I'll create my yes. But I live by this philosophy that I don't look for tables. I make tables myself. I bring the wood and I bring the nails and I
Okay.
build the thing my own self. I build the whole doggone thing myself, because if we wait for somebody else to give us a yes, we'll be waiting forever. And so that's how I pretty much started this thing off, by saying that I've tried to be other people's tables, and it just it didn't work out for me. And it's not that I want to rush the process, but it's just that I know that there are other people that look up to me, and that started with being a big sister. So there's other people that look up to me. There's other people that are dependent on me to show up, and that's what started this whole entire process. Just shifting the mindset, stepping into surrendering, and stepping into what I know that I was called to do.
That now this is a good segue for me to put in there. This how you know that she's talking about bringing her own wood and her own table. I'm about to tell on you now. So when I was back there,
Mm-mm.
so now the story is coming out. So when I was teaching them, I took my little thing because I was at that time I wasn't like that. I was their teacher, but I was a teacher because I didn't have the certificate then. So I took my little money that I had, and I took all of my little clique of girls that I wanted them, because again, like she said, the product of her area code, and she's not a product of it. But I wanted to show them another life. So I went and took them to Red Lobster. So I took my little kids, my little girls to Red Lobster. Oh yes. So I took
Somebody say cheddar bay.
we were eating fancy, honey. We were eating good. That was good eating back then. Okay, that was
so,
good eating.
right. Let me tell you what this child did. So we get there to Red Lobster, and I'm like, okay, y'all eat whatever you want to. This one right here is talking about, I want some appetizer. I want an appetizer. I got my own money. She pulled out her little wild little money there. And she's like, I can bring my own appetizer, because I'm telling them they just gonna get the meal. But I didn't say about the appetizer part. And she brought out her own little wad of money, and she said, I got it. You just tell me how much my bill is, and I give it to you. Now this is back there in elementary school, because I was at elementary.
Elementary school.
Right,
Yeah.
right. For about eighth grade. And
I
so that's it.
love
She
that.
already
That's
knew.
beautiful.
She already knew she was gonna bring her own wood, her own nails, and break her own table, even back then.
Back then, even back then, I always felt like you should hold your own. I mean, I was raised by a strong woman, a strong mom, and on her back, she stands on my grandmother's shoulders, great
Mhm.
grandmother's shoulders, who was just a little girl down in the country in Mississippi, mixed girl, a mixed woman. Half she's half white, half black, but their strength is like no other. And that's why I said I can't, I wish I could take credit for all of this strength of my own, but I definitely couldn't do such thing. But I knew at an early age that I mean, and it could be just that I'm an older child, and sometimes those older kids possess that leaderish trait is what I like to call it, because I see it happening in my oldest daughter as well. Leaderish trait. But my baby girl, literally, my 10-year-old is a boss. She's run her own business for a very long time. Like this is probably year three. So it's like big bosses create baby bosses, and if you don't step into your boss mode, then you're gonna lose your boss title.
Yeah. So, baby, what is she doing? She's doing. I don't want to get it wrong. What is she doing today?
She was doing baby girl was doing paparazzi Janae's jewelry. We've hence branched off, and we're working on some other stuff so that she becomes independent on her own. She's able to show more of her style, be uniquely herself. But that was kind of a business for her to learn the business, to be able to be faithful over a few things, as I like to call it, so that she can then know the seriousness and all of the back end work and things that it takes to go into that. The personality is definitely there. She's one of the ones too. It's 2021. So she has her, and I'm trying to find something, like she has her own card. So she'll go to the store and she's like, I'm buying this, and she's pulling out her little card and wallet at 10 years old out of her coach purse.
Okay,
So
go
and
ahead.
yeah. So I have my own money. I got this, and she pays for her own stuff. Yeah, that's us in a nutshell.
That's beautiful. I really love that. And I want to just point out to our audience that as look at this vibration, okay? This is a
Yeah.
balanced woman. Now, yes, she does have her counterpart. She's got her whole life, but she's balanced in her yin and her yang, her masculine and feminine, her alpha, her omega is balanced within her. And she has the discipline as well as that feminine creativity and that drive and that easy flow, right? Because she's dancing with both power and the grace, right? Because grace moves in all kinds of wonderful ways that you cannot predict. But when you have the balance, that's the key. And she's
Mhm.
saying, she's coming from a place of, I get to make my table. She's not, oh, I got to make my own table. You know what I mean? So a lot of us come
Yeah.
from that space of, oh, I got to make my own table, and now I need wood, and now I need no. I'm gonna make my own table. It's gonna be nice. I'm gonna get the wood. I'm gonna pick out the finish. I'm gonna sand it. Okay, it's gonna be
I could do
fantastic.
cherry. I can do a cherry. I can do a white wood, whatever I want. That's the thing about listen, when you free your mind and you free yourself and you're just a free flowing energy, you can blow wherever. You can do whatever you like. Really, you really can. It's just you're telling yourself. Who told you you can? When people are like, "Well, I don't really have the freedom," I said, "Who told you that? Who said that?"
True. True. Mhm.
As an able and available and stable, capacitated adult, who told you that? Who said you can't do that? I think that's a fire for me. That my husband knows, and like anybody that knows me well, just don't tell me I can't do something, because that's when I'm really gonna do it. That's
Mhm.
really when I'm gonna do it. Just
And
don't tell
that's
me.
and that's something that's integrated and passed down through lineage, right? So
Yeah,
we are talking about an internal programming that some
yeah.
people have to reset. Because I'm sure you've seen people come to you with all kinds of stories and excuses as to why they haven't been able to get where they need to go. And you're like,
Hmm.
I can do that in that would take me two shakes. But for some reason, you've got some kind of scripting in your head or some
Yeah.
internal conversation or a limitation that you've seen from an external factor that you wanted to value or feel valued by. So you now carry this weight on you that you don't even need to.
Bless you.
So that's why I say
Yeah.
I invite you to get into this energy, get into this space of being actually empowered, embodied in your spiritual self, and empowered,
Yeah.
confident in your empower, confident. You know what? I don't know what I'm doing, but I guess what? I'm gonna swing this hammer around, and something's gonna get, something's gonna happen.
Fake. Sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it. I don't always like to push that notion, but
Uh-huh.
yes, listen, honey. You can go to Target with $2 and still look cute. You can still Target with $2 and you can still look cute. Listen. You can walk in there and you don't even have to have a latte cup, honey, from the Starbucks that's in there. Just walk in there, hold your nose up. Just go in there and scroll, and you'll eventually come back in and buy the whole block that they're selling.
Now, when I was actually getting into that state of empowering myself and, reprogramming and unlearning a lot of negative self-talk
Oh
and stuff
my
like that, that was
gosh.
one of the things my girls were saying was my friends, they're like, posture, stand
That's
straight,
it.
see how it
That's
feels.
it.
Then
Absolutely.
you do that when you lift your chin. Oh, all of a sudden you're regal, right?
Right.
That's
And
it.
up,
Now,
crown
now,
on.
now, depending on your vibration, you might attract someone to try to make you check that because
Yeah.
you're afraid to hold your confidence. But if you know
Yeah.
that that stuff is going to come and you're going to keep getting tests from the universe, you will stand in your confidence anyway. Oh, that's a test. Oh, what happened? I had that little bitty conversation and I noticed my shoulders went down. Did I just
Mm.
give some
Yeah.
of my power away? Oh, I don't
Yeah.
think so.
I
Not
think not.
today.
Absolutely. It's so funny that you say that because I just talked about this on my status, and you ladies can tell me how you feel about this. I feel that you just shouldn't tell someone to be humble because you don't know what they had to go through to get to where they're at and get into that energy and headspace. When you tell someone to be humble, what you're saying to them is come down to my level, bring your energy and match my energy. But that's not technically their energy level. And I am a firm believer that every room that I go into, it has to shift to what my energy is. I'm a firm believer that my spirit demands that. And it's because if you are in a bad headspace, I don't even know why I'm in the room with you in the first place. If your energy is down here, and I'm an energy feeder, so I love energy. I'm not saying praise me. I'm not saying that hey, look at me, I'm here. No, what I'm saying is that I get to control the energy around me, meaning that I'm going to be that positive light. And if you can't get with it, then I've shaken up some little demons or some darkness in you that you might want to deal with,
Mm.
and you're going to have to go.
And
So I just believe in that don't tell people to be humble because you don't know what they've been through, and their energy is there because of something that has caused them to know that their shoulders need to be up and not here.
Mhm.
Right. April, you was going to say something?
Yeah.
there was something that just was powering through. It definitely was you know, when you're telling someone to be humble or to stay humble, it's more like stay humble. Sometimes people need to stroke their own ego just to give themselves enough confidence to get them to start making the
Yeah.
next moves.
Yeah.
And if you
Absolutely.
find that you are that type of person where you're like, you know what, I look good and I'm doing good at this, and you find someone that's nearby that you've been working in a karmic cycle with come through and say something to kind of just check that a little bit, like, well, anybody can do that. And it's like, you know what? But I need this for me. I claim that for me. I claim these things for my own strength and my empowerment. I hear that you are trying to find some kind of balance that has no place here because you need to stand for yourself,
Yeah.
because that's how you keep the momentum going. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. We are changed and weathered everything by life, but if we remain that mountain, or we can like kind of last throughout the ages or throughout time. And that's the beauty of the staying humble. I don't remember the original thing that came through with what you were saying, because that was just so on point. I really appreciate that, because there are people
Thank
who are
you.
learning to humble themselves, right? And usually
Yeah.
the most humble person in the room isn't going to say anything, right?
That's it. That's
Until they're
absolutely it.
pushed, until they're pushed into a point where they then
Absolutely.
have to defend for some reason, or they feel
Absolutely.
like saving someone else. But
Yeah.
ultimately, I love your vibe. I love how you're teaching your children.
Thank
Um,
you.
and you have a publishing company, which is really, really cool. How did you kind of, now, did you start with everything all at once, or did you do one thing at a time, or how did you do that? Because a lot of us have a lot of ideas coming through, and
This
we just don't
baby started it.
That's
This
what I was
baby,
about to ask. You're right.
this baby started it. Writing this book, going through this whole experience with these ladies, channeling all of their energies and bringing it into a positive light of what transpired in our younger years. Started That was the catalyst for Write That Book Now Publishing, and that's what kind of started that particular sector of what I do. But as far as like speaking, I think I think I've always been a speaker, right?
Oh, yeah.
I've always been a speaker. I've always been a speaker and had that maturity about me all the time, and since that has been my posture, then and I know that I'm a woman of influence and was a girl of influence as well. I just knew that that was something that I wanted to do, because oftentimes we struggle to wonder what our gift is in the world, and I believe that my voice is my gift for me.
Mhm.
And so that started at an early age. As far as like the podcast, again, because podcast gives you an opportunity to speak, gives you an opportunity to have others to come on and speak, gains dialogue and conversations to allow people to provoke thoughts and see things in ways that they may have not been able to see them before. So that was kind of one of the things for the podcast. And just my coaching is essentially pretty much because of the people and the energies and places that I go that attract people. Again, just to see how I navigate through life, being that wife, being that mom, being the background, being that teen mom that I was, and these things are not things that I fed to myself to keep me back. And so that's kind of what started everything, almost every piece. And I love fashion, I love clothes, and I think that's Divine Sunshine's thing. So like she would come to school and teach us with this like extravagant fashion. And she finally revealed to us that she was going to school for fashion design. I'm so glad that I'm sorry that it had to end like that, but I'm glad it did because we got to have you. But she used to come to school with these bomb outfits, girl. And I'm like, here I am with this little blue and white dusty uniform on. She's like really cute. Like she's really cute. And so like I love those. I love fashion. I that's it's like I live, breathe, and think that. It's something about it because it sticks you out like a sore thumb no matter where you go. And my signature piece and my brand is always me with a bum high heel shoe. So I love shoes. I love all fashion, but shoes is my signature piece that get people talking.
Mm.
Yeah.
So when you're starting out, so let's take it from the beginning. You have something. What would you give advice as far as a person starting out? I mean, I think a lot of us got a lot of ideas, but again, if we're like a person like to spin a lot of plates, what would be your advice to say, okay, to get yourself started? Because I think a lot of us have these ideas and passions, but we just don't know where to start. So what would be your advice for a person that say, I got this, but I don't know what to do?
That's a great question. And I think that you have to ask yourself, what is that one thing that I will do for free every single day and not miss being paid for it? Because that becomes your passion. And your passion essentially becomes your paycheck. Because people will pay you for your passion if you're passionate enough about it to share your perspective that fits their lifestyle. And you gain that know, like, and trust factor. Remember, you buy everything that you buy because of the with them, which is what's in it for me. What is it going to do? How is these glasses that I have on? going to change my life. They're going to enhance my image, you know. How does me with my locks change my life? It's going to show that I'm powerful. It's going to show that I am unique and I embrace my roots in all of who I am, you know. And so that's kind of the thing that you have to ask yourself. What can I do every day that's gonna that I won't miss a paycheck for doing? No one ever has to pay me to do it. And once you find that one thing, how can I share this with the world in a manner that I can monetize it, and monetize it without people even realizing that they're paying for things? Because you buy toilet paper and you buying it, but you don't realize how much you're spending on it because it's something that I need at this point. And so you got to make what you know and what you're offering a need to someone else.
So how do you take that and then it becomes into like cereal? How did it come from like one thing and it branched out to all those other different things and it's be successful? Because I know sometimes you got ideas. I don't even know with me. I got ideas, this, and this kind of bombs, but this one might be successful, but then after a while that bombs. So I mean, how do you do that to do the constant streams of ideas like that and be all successful on all levels?
You need a team. You need people around you that believe in you. You need just to drive and not to put the torch down, and bring it all full force together. So it becomes serial when the dots on the photo connect. So I have this wonderful, you guys have this wonderful platform as a show, right? As a radio show. You have this amazing platform. Great. Now I can take this outside and become a speaker. And now from being a speaker, I can actually write a book. Because I'm just speaking the words on paper that can't talk back, but people can actually read them. And just pretty much grooming each piece at a time, um, to transition as a beautiful piece into the next part. Um, I'm a scatterbrain and I want to do 10,000 things all the time. And, you know, again, I was that girl that had the letter on the back of the thing that says Deborah's an amazing student, but she talked too much, or have that box checked. And so, yeah, don't scoot over now. Don't scoot over now. It was
I
here.
think we're at the end of the
And
show now.
you,
It
you're
was
right.
nice.
We're not. That's not what I'm feeling. That's not the vibe right now. We got to tell truth. And so, again, so that is the thing that I would do over and over again, no matter how many checks you gave me. So just putting it all together is pretty much, again, the connecting that dot, not missing the paycheck from it, writing those things down and give it a free flow. Like, okay, I've started this podcast. Amazing. People now love to hear me talk. Numbers don't lie. So looking at data, I'm a data girl too. So numbers don't lie. If people are listening to this, that means that they'll listen to you in real life, or not just say real life, but like in person. And
Mhm.
so that means where can I put this? Where can I next channel this at? So put that together. Um, and it free flows. It honestly free flows. It free flows and it goes where you need it to go. You just got to put it in order, and you got to get a bomb coach like me that's going to help you with that. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Shameless plug. Shameless plug.
No, not shameless. It's supposed to be. If you can't cheerlead for your own self, who is going to cheerlead for you?
Absolutely.
On that one. So I hear you saying just let it organically flow, but make the
Yeah.
move to make that push to go on and make the step. Because I think a lot
Strategic.
of us hung up on that, like it's got to be perfect. What about those people that believe it's got to be perfect? It just got to, I mean, I can't do it until it's just right.
You're never going to do it if you're waiting for the perfect moment, because we're not perfect people. You're never ever going to do it if you're waiting for the perfect moment. There, all of this stuff was never a perfect time. You couldn't have never told me that I was going to produce an amazing anthology while moving 1,700 miles away, leaving Chicago and transitioning to Arizona while writing a book, managing not just my story, but 9 other people's story, channeling all of their energy, channeling all their situations, helping them relive trauma while I'm reliving my own. So this would have never ever went forth had I not said yes. Had I not said yes, this publishing company would have never come about. This Write Your Way to 3K would have never been birthed. That this discussions with Deborah platform, none of these things would have never taken place. It just takes one little itsy bitsy yes, one itsy bitsy yes, and you get that fire in you, and you're like, I believe in me, and I know that I can do this for a fact. Absolutely. So that's really much it. Just give yourself one yes, and don't wait for that. There's no perfect moment. Just be. Nike has the most important slogan that I can know out there. Just do it.
Yep. Hmm. And that's a very good point, I think, that you brought up, because I think a lot, and I'll even speak for myself. But I've learned to push myself through that, because a lot of times, sometimes it's like, well, this is going on, and this is going on, and this is going on. And then I stop and I say, I got to wait till the perfect moment. Like when this dies down, then I'll do this. And then when this dies down, I'll do this. And I think that's a issue too, as well. We're waiting for everything to become, not only us it to be perfect, but the moment to be perfect, for everything to die down and
Yeah.
situations to become better. And I'm so glad to hear you say, I wrote my best masterpiece during the storm, not waiting till the
See.
storm went over. And I
Yeah.
think some of us have to kind of listen. You need to, that's called alchemy. What you did was take that movement and you alchemized the moment and changed it and made it more higher vibration into this beautiful book anthology that you created with 9 other people. So
Thank
that's
you.
something that's, again, that we have to keep in mind too, as well, when we're going through those things. Keep on powering through, keep on doing
Yes.
what you're doing instead of waiting for that.
Yeah.
Kathy, do you have any things, questions?
No,
No?
not really. I mean, she's pretty much answered, a lot of them on just, the getting started and how to, have the motivation to get there. And how do you, well, I guess really one, how do you, yes, everybody has a story, but how do you encourage that person to write it? Because there's so many times, I mean, just different events in my own life, and somebody says, you should write a book. And like, who would read that, So like, how do you encourage?
Erase that. Yeah, I encourage you by erasing, just not just you, but those who always say that, like, no one's gonna read that. Oh, but they are. They actually are, because they're gonna see so much of themselves and what's happening with themselves in that book, and they're gonna thank you for being brave, for being courageous, and for being unashamed of any of the situation that you've gone through. Um, Many other times I say that we're the ones who really hold ourselves back, and I give that speech of saying, how much longer do you want to carry around that luggage that's inside of that bag before you're paying for this. You're consistently paying for this. Remember, just think about taking that same 50-pound luggage off of the plane every time, and you're there every time you get back on. They're like, okay, it's another fee. So it's costing you something. So when you're tired and ready of not paying that fee, that's when you really, or whatever the price is that you're paying for that, that's when it's really time. And I ask people, what is this situation causing you? Is it causing you to have an unbalanced moment? Is it causing you to lose sleep? Is
Mhm.
it causing you your success? What is it costing you? You gotta ask yourself, what is it costing you? Because if it's costing you too much at that point, then it's time to free yourself. And if that cost is, if it's too much for you, you want to cut it somewhere. That's just like with anything in our lives. If we're wasting money on a subscription that we're not reading, we're going to cut it off, right?
Right.
So just same thing with life. Just cut it off, and free yourself and tell that story. And again, your story can pay you. I again, that's why I help you go from telling your story to selling your story, because you're going to tell your girlfriend that sad sob story 10 times anyway, and you just told it to her for free. So let's just put it in a book and get paid for it.
Makes sense.
Right. And how do you juggle? You say about family, because I know that too. How do you have your family even support you as you're doing all this on your mission and purpose as well? How do you do
First, first we get away from the eye rolling phase. And they're
that?
like,
Okay.
here she comes with another idea. But I include my family on this entrepreneur journey, and I help them discover their best selves as well. And some areas that they probably thought that they weren't good at. My most favorite thing, excuse me, my most favorite thing was this month launching that magazine and having my entire family write in that magazine. They would have never went to a magazine and wrote for them. Never, ever. But including them, encouraging them while they're encouraging me, and supporting their dreams and goals and aspirations, because they do that for me. So it's only fair and right, since we're dwelling with one another, to do that for them. So just bringing them in and including them, I think that's key and crucial. Though I am the moving vessel all the time, they're still an ample part of the process, and they a lot of times don't desire the front of the screen. They're okay with being in the back while I'm trying to push them in the front with me.
Right. So how would you tell, okay, because I can hear some people say, how would you deal with, and thank God in your situation that you don't, but I'm sure there is some little times that someone like, Ma, I need you here, this, or her husband say, wifey, I need you for this. How do you handle those times when it's just like, okay, yeah, I said I'm on board, but I kind of ain't on board with it. I still kind of is colliding with my time. So how do you deal with those if it would arise or if they has arise? How do you deal with that?
Great
How,
question. And it's kind of almost like it's a balance at the end of the day. And that's one of the things that I talk about with my therapist every week. It's about balance. And it's also about using that one letter sentence, no.
okay,
It's okay to say no.
okay,
It's definitely okay to say no. And it's not being selfish, it's not being mean. Again, remember, that's the purpose of this wives journal, because as a wife, you're not, most times you're a mom if you decide to have children, and then if you're a boss, and then you're going to now put this thing of being a wife in the mix of it. You got to say no to something. It's not always saying no to your family, but it may be saying no to taking another course, or no at that. And it's not a hard no, it's not a permanent no. It's just saying not at this moment, not at this moment. So that's not to say that it'll never get done. It's pretty much to say that it will get done, but this is just not the moment. So using the
okay.
word no will definitely help you. And I'm pulling the charger. It'll definitely help you keep that balance. It's okay to say no, but you just don't make that no a permanent thing, because you can always go back and revisit. When you're in control, you can always go back and revisit that moment and say, now is actually the time for that.
Oh, good. You want to answer that question that April's asking for on the?
You want me to ask it?
Yeah, you go.
Okay. Well, I got to find it because okay. Have you ever dealt with imposter syndrome, and how do you power through it to success?
That is a great question. And I just experienced that, whew, in the beginning of this pandemic.
Okay.
So March was my birthday. I thought I was like the many people, and I can openly admit this, I thought this thing would blow past and move on. And this was just something that happened, right? And we'll get over this, just like we always do other stuff. It's another sign of the flu. We'll move on. And so um, it took a toll on me, because remember, I'm an energy person. I'm a
Mhm.
people's person, and I need that certain amount of people interaction to be able to get a perfect balance. And so since I can't get that people action interaction and those people moments, It felt like an isolation and a suffocation, which then in terms created that imposter syndrome to say that I have since this COVID is going on and I don't really have to leave my house. I got time to do a lot of stuff, and every day turned and I got time to do stuff, and then another day it turned into that, and then until I started to get fearful of myself, and I'm like, this is Deborah, this is not you. um, you've never procrastinated this long. What is really going on? I have to ask myself and have these self talks and self checking moments. And it's like something is going on. I'm like, did I lose my passion for business? Did I
Mhm.
did I did I lose my vision and my purpose for life? Um, and am I just becoming content with working in corporate America? What is it? I have to ask myself, what is it? And let me just be the first to say that there is absolutely nothing wrong with working in corporate America, but there are times where we are so driven into the dreams of that company that we actually forget our own. And
Hmm.
so I had to bring myself back to the reality that though I really like what I do for corporate America, that's not my end all be all. And there are people out there waiting for me to show up again, and since that is the case, I need to start what I've finished. I need to finish what I've started. And having that self talk, letting myself know that someone is probably withering away in their dreams and aspirations because you're behind the scenes where you know that you don't belong. And so that self talk is key and crucial to get you out of that imposter syndrome. And again, um, it's getting out of your own way and changing what you're actually putting into yourself, and what I was doing was scrolling quickly past the women that were empowering and quickly past the women that were actually making moves during the pandemic, because I didn't want to feel guilt of that. I was, sucking myself into that and just looking at the people that were complaining about the pandemic and looking at all this. I was subscribing to those crazy thoughts and subscribing to what was actually going on versus still continuing to go. So if you're having imposter syndrome, I challenge you to ask yourself what happened, what started this, what triggered this, and now that I know what triggered this, am I really happy with what's going on? And if I'm not happy with what's going on, to change my atmosphere, change my world, speak life into your dead parts of your life in situations.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes. Wait, oh, I'm not on mute anymore. Snap.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you for reading my question, by the way. And that was a really beautiful, beautiful answer.
Thank you.
Because, it's often pushed aside the little inklings, but until something big and major happens, that's when it's, oh, where did I go wrong? Honey, you didn't wake up fat today from eating a sausage yesterday. You know what I mean?
Bingo.
You've been overeating and crying at night since you was a teenager. And then you came to do a coping mechanism, and now you're like
Yeah.
what's a
And
good
that's,
number?
yep. I'm
Uh,
that I'm that that's what I do with my clients too, April. I'm a root person because we often put bandages over things that literally need surgery. We really need surgery, and surgery is getting down to the root of it. Let's get to the bottom of it. What actually changed? What triggered this? What started this? Because if we never get to the what, then and you know you have to fulfill the what and the why.
And
You'll
that
never
goes,
get past it.
yeah, that goes with everything, because especially like with hypnotherapy, I'll get asked all the time different questions like, well, can you do this? Well, yeah, but we've got to figure out, even all the way down to, people that want to quit smoking, and just simple things like that, that you would think it's okay, it's a bad habit, you want to get rid of it. Most smokers know exactly what a bad habit is. They know how dirty of a habit it is. They know what, detriment they're doing to their health. But there's that hidden trigger, like you're talking about. There's that one little thing that it is either it gives them time alone, because
Uh-huh.
everybody wants to stay away from them because of the smell, or it's because their parents did it, or someone they idolized did it, or it was seen as a, I mean, mine is simple. When I worked at the newspapers and as a graphic designer, you were given a break every 30 minutes. You got like a 5-minute break or something for eye strain. But if you were a smoker, you got 15 minutes because you had to go out to smoke. So I would just follow my friends out that smoked. Well, then we had an editor that decided that, oh, well, if you're going to be out here, you have to be smoking. You can't just be out here standing. Okay, I guess because, I need a break. My eyes are hurting. My head is killing me from being on these computers all day long. But I took that step to, destroy my life more so I
Mm-hmm.
could have a longer break to let my eyes rest. I mean, it as crazy as that sounds, that was the logic behind it.
Really got you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I found that, we'll give ourselves any number of excuses for hurting ourselves
Hmm.
Yep.
and or ignoring our own issues.
Yeah.
And, that's the major thing. We go through almost like empath or compassion fatigue or something like that, that in order for you to scrape that time for yourself, or in order for us to get X, Y, and Z done, we'll hurt ourselves a little bit just to get it done. And it's like that's
Yeah.
that's not okay. That's not okay. But
Yeah.
we've been taught that throughout society. It's set up, well, you um pain for beauty, right? It's not actually
Yeah.
like that. It's ease and grace for beauty, right?
Yeah.
That's how it's maintained
Absolutely.
longevity, right? So,
I agree.
so here we are in our vibration, right? Shifting.
Woo.
This we're shifting into our more divine selves, and that requires our empowerment and our movement towards that. And it's not necessarily saying we give up everything in order to find ourselves, but you can let go of the pieces that aren't you and start to identify what is you, so you can actually be strong in it or passionate about it or even find the thing. Because I heard it when you were saying it, but it was interesting. I'm like, and I'm usually never triggered by this, but what would you do for free? And it's like, I'm tired of doing stuff for free. You know what I mean? That's how they got me here. They put me on a boat and made my ancestors do some shit for free. And in February, especially, we are not having any more stuff for free. So, how do you actually allow yourself to be worthy of receiving money for your time and your energy and your value?
Yeah, that's true too. Because that a
How do
lot.
you turn it?
Yeah, because a lot of times it's when you're in the spiritual work, and it's a little different than what Deborah is doing, which is tangible, where they can feel it. I get a book in return, okay, yeah, I can do payment. But when you're doing like work like we do, which is more energy and spiritual, like a lot of times, and you might even do that, even speaking, because sometimes they think that I was watching the court show this morning, and the young lady was helping a guy that was he was demonstrating how you talk to guys with this young lady in there, and he paid her for the first 2 hours, and the other hours he's like, well, it's for free because you just stayed there. So I figured we were demonstrating how you could be able to talk to guys, and I just used it as a demonstration as a model. And she's like, no, I need my money. So I mean, sometimes even if you're not even doing anything spiritual, or if it's just you sharing your ideas, someone say, well, she should be wanting to do that because she's getting her book promoted in the meantime, so you should do it for free. So it's the passion, but then after a while it kills you from you wanting to do that. So I'm in agreement with April. When we do hear free, us in the spiritual world is like, they go that word because everybody figured we should be giving our gifts for free. We read you and say,
I
well, I
have had,
so that's it.
man, I'm sorry, I'm mad. I got pissed because someone tried to mansplain to me why I should not charge for my gifts. And I'm like, sounds like you've been a vampire your whole life, sucking
Right.
off your mama. Now you're trying to suck off of me. I ain't got time. Now you want me to share with who or what?
Right.
I don't
Yes,
know.
yes, 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 yes. I'm sorry. We went on a tangent because that
No, 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 because Now you guys have me cringing. Hold up, wait a minute. Let me reiterate or reword what I said, because what I'm saying is, what would you do for free? Not that you should do it for free. Now,
Right, I got you. Right. I know.
Okay, I'm
now.
listening to the people in the back. Did you hear that?
Right.
Yeah, let's fix that, because I cannot call my electricity, my gas, myself. I can't call them up with a free payment. Did you hear that? I can't call them up with a free payment. And my time is money. My time is of value, and my time is of the essence. And if I'm serving you, you pay for service. You don't go to a restaurant, you don't have a seat, enjoy an amazing meal, and get your tail up and walk off, because that's grounds for that's grounds for something to happen. And so you definitely always, doesn't matter what type of work you're doing, energy work, physical work, mental, whatever, you must be compensated for your time, which means that you must attract a tribe that needs what
Yeah.
you have at the end
All
of the
right.
day.
All
But
right.
free is for fools. And I'll say that again. Free is for
Oh
fools. And I don't do free. I've been a
my.
fool to many things in my life, but free when business, no ma'am, no sir. I'm not the one.
I like that. Attract a tribe that is willing to do that, because that's where we have to again bring that consciousness of around that will do that. Because I'm with April. They have the hand down and they think they believe, oh, your prices is this. I thought it would be this, but you're like, I pour a lot of energy and a lot of time into what I'm giving you. And at the same time, for me to feel whole and complete, for me to do that, that makes it feel like it's an even exchange. I don't walk away feeling like it now becomes karmic. I done read your reading and I felt I done poured in 3 hours of work, and you only walk away and give me $22 because you say that means mastery. That's lovely, but that don't make me feel of the
Yeah.
day. I'm sorry, it does not. So, that's we don't want it to become karmic. And that's what we have to kind of understand that too, as well, even in the spiritual or whatever you're doing, even like you say, tangible, you have to
Well,
understand that.
now,
Absolutely.
what
Yes,
kind of advice would you give someone that is wanting to leave the corporate world to
yeah,
follow their own entrepreneur kind of ideas? Because I think with this pandemic, a lot of us have been woken up to the idea that we are essential employees until we keel over, and then we're easily replaced.
please.
And
Oh,
we are. I know for myself that there are too many things I've missed out in my kids' lives because of having to teach. And you would rather drag your carcass into school about dead than have to write sub plans,
Yes.
and you're guilted into it when you need to take a personal day, and you don't get to do Thanksgiving dinner at school with baby girl, because well, your lunch doesn't line up with her lunch, and her school's across town. And so she's the only one sitting there Mother's Day with no mom. And, at that point,
ooh,
you realize that all those things you missed are way more important than, you know, and we all have the students like you that we remember and we're close with forever, but there are a lot of others that don't, they don't remember your name. They don't realize that, you missed your daughter's field trip
Mm.
because you wanted to make sure they got the lesson, and it's not an equal give and take. So when you get to that point that you're ready to step out on your own, that you're going to just kind of take that fool's card, that leap of faith, and say, I'm done. I'll bag groceries if I have to, but I'm going to do it on my terms now. Where do you?
Good question.
so that's a really good question. And there's a couple moving pieces to answer that, if I may. Number
Oh,
one, you have to find out what time means to you. And I've been that mom, working in the corporate America on the very high level of banking. When I worked in the banking industry, being young, they're paying you that 5 and 6 figure income, and you're just gung ho and over the top. So you have to figure out what's important to you. Is it time or money? Because One of them is not going to work in the corporate world. And if
Mhm.
you want both of them to work for you, you're going to have to work for yourself, because when you've made up in your mind that you want to own your own time and you want fun, freedom, and fulfillment, you're never going to get that when it comes to a corporate setting. And furthermore, you'll never be neighbors with the boss. And when I think of, and that's just a wholehearted truth, you're never going to be neighbors with the owners of the companies. That's just it. That's all. And so, if I have to wait 40 years to get $40, that says that you're in control of my entire. I don't like control. So that says that you're in control of my entire destiny. That says that um, I must do what you say and I must miss valuable things because, again, I was that mom. I looked up Kathy, and literally my oldest was leaving eighth grade until I realized that I haven't been on a field trip.
Mhm.
I would be coming towards the tail end of her track meets, and my husband and I would pass off children like they were batons.
Mhm.
And I knew that something had to give at some point. And same thing with my husband. He would like work consistently. And now when people are like, but I'll pay you X amount of money at this job, that doesn't entice me. I'm not here for the money. I'm here because it's giving my family some sort of benefit that's outside of the money. And for me working in the airline industry, that's an airplane ride until I can, and in a moment, I'll be able to have a private plane. Just wait on it. Okay. That's on my to do. But the benefits besides the money, and when we stop allowing money to be our ruler, and when we have found out what not to do by watching what they are doing and how they're treating people in the corporate America, essentially, I would say that that's when you make a game plan and you exit strong and you fire your boss. You come in control of what you're going to receive. You come in control of the time that you want to spend, and you come in control of what your time actually costs you and put a dollar amount on that. And so, if you're looking to leave corporate America, do your homework and figure out what not to do. Do your homework and figure out what really matters most to you. Because if it's still money that is in the forefront of everything, that might not be really much the time to kind of transition. You got to want to own more than just money in this freedom time that you have, because we can be free as a bird, but still be stuck in one tree, if I
Mhm.
can say that, and not realizing that there's a million trees that you can go explore, a million places in the sky that you can go. So have a strong game plan. What do you desire to put out in the world? Who do you desire to show up as when I leave this corporate job, since I'm not Nancy the nurse? And since I'm not Bob the builder, what more is there to me? So figure that out for sure, and make your exit strategy, and go out with a bang and fire that boss.
All right, fire that mouse. Tell my principal to take no plan. Okay.
Well, we know
You,
as
you gonna
teachers,
fire? You gonna
money's
fire the
never in the
principal?
forefront of anything. So,
You're fired. No, I'm playing. Okay. On that note,
No,
okay.
just thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time. Right, right. Thank you for your time. And that is it. So if you could give, and we close out and round it up, what would be a sound advice that you would give anybody as far as them wanting to be an entrepreneur? What's the main, like, bam, this is advice that I would give to this person?
Have heart. You gotta have heart, honey.
Okay.
This thing is it's not for the faint at heart. It's not for the weak. It's not for the weak at all. And be open to errors, because you need to make those mistakes. You need to learn. And find your tribe, baby. Find your tribe so that you can kill the frustration part. Find your tribe. Find those who believe in you on the days that you can't believe in yourself.
Mm.
and find that fire that will never die. Again, being that thing that you would do for free, but not necessarily are going to do for free.
Free. Okay.
Um, and and find out where you show up in the world best. Because we can all go Google and become a scientist overnight at this point with the Google, right? Google
Mm.
University, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's your gift or your talent or your calling or your place in the world. Um, be there naturally. If I know that I can speak all day long, just be that speaker, and there is multiple levels to what you are designed to do. And so when it comes to this entrepreneur thing, just know your place and have that heart, and get that tribe behind you to help you push you through, because you can't do this thing on your own. As much as we want to think that we can do everything on our own as a boss or as an entrepreneur, no, there's a million moving pieces to success behind the scenes.
All right.
And that would really much be my advice. And just come into the whole self, come into the whole realm. And that requires inner work. That requires a lot of letting go. That requires a lot of surrender. That universal sign again of surrender and allowing the law of attraction to find you in the areas that it's supposed to. Really.
Do you have some of your things, your books? Can you hold that? I'm gonna put you up on the screen big. Some of your
Mm, what do I
hold on,
have?
you some of the books there that we can see, you can hold up, and I'm about to create real big. I had it, but it went away. Your website that you can get your stuffy materials from, that book. No,
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe
Let's
something
see.
about the book now. I think this is it. Is that? I hope that's right. Is that right?
I don't know if I have enough hands to hold all this,
Okay,
darling,
just do
but
it one at a time. Oh, no, hold a second. Let me edit that because it's okay.
there
So
is there is Women of Excellence magazine. You can go to womenofexcellencemagazine.com
yeah,
to purchase this January edition. The
okay,
February edition is on fire.
okay. Is that the right one there for
This
you?
is the Yeah,
Okay,
this is the January edition. The
okay.
February edition has not been print, but it is celebrating Black History Month and it's hot, baby.
It is
It's
hot.
hot.
That covers hot. That covers hot. Not because
Thank
that's
you.
my baby, but it's hot.
Yes, that cover is hot. It's celebrating our ancestors. It's celebrating the roots, honey. This
Yeah.
is my wives' journal. You are not alone. This is a self-care journal for the wives out there so that they feel empowered. They feel okay to say no when needed, and they
Okay.
don't feel alone in that journey.
Okay.
This is one of my very first babies. It's super old. This is my hustle her guide. This is my business guide for you to get all things business, just from startup to branding, a little bit of marketing. This has been on the market for quite some time now. It's very first baby.
Okay.
This is my vision goals crush repeat. It is a vision board journal. I try to do
Okay.
that. So you know how we have those traditional big vision boards that we copy, we take the magazine pieces and we paste them there. I'm a firm believer that you chew an elephant one piece at a time, really. And so with that vision board journal, you break down every single month into small pieces and chunks, and you can still do your inserts and cutouts, but you are tailoring it towards that specific month versus having all this mumble jumble around the place and no specific strategy to get that stuff actually accomplished. And last but not least is the Dear Daddy, a letter from a successful businesswoman anthology. This again is a book that deals with a perspective of 10 women, of those including myself. We talk about growing up in the home as a child without our fathers being present, what that did to us, how that journey looked like, and how we conquer and overcame that particular obstacle to become a successful businesswoman. And so many of those things, if you're on Instagram, you can go to Deborah the brand, and I have a link tree there that will lead you into all of those particular products that I have available for that program program, Write Your Way to 3K. You can go to writeyourway to 3K.com to be able to be a part of the next go round that's coming up for quarter 2 and April. And so you'll be able to start solidifying your spot that way, because I only take in a maximum of 10 authors because I believe in quality over quantity. DeborahRisper.com should actually be back up again soon. It'll be back. It should have been up like the other day, but my website designer, she's amping up some new things for me. So you can always go to DeborahRisper.com in just a couple of days. Write That Book Now Publishing is where you can go to find publishing information as well. And you can go to sophisticatedsoulboutique.com for styles. And again, the Women of Excellence magazine is where you can go for the magazine. Discussions with Deborah, you can find that platform. You can find that discussion podcast on any of the platforms that you get your podcast from. So all the Apples and everywhere, Spotify, you can always find that information. You can always find that podcast there, okay? So that's me in a nutshell, guys.
Wow, I can't believe I even spelled right. Y'all should be proud of me. Did you see me do them banners?
A plus plus, A plus plus, A plus
I did
plus.
them banners, boy. Most time I'm fumbling all over the place. I'm so proud of
You're
myself.
good.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Is there anything happening? And thank you. Is there anything else happening with the rest of you all on the playground? Any specials, anything we should know about before we close out too? For you guys, April has done the wonderful. You missed it. If you were not there, she has a nice opening where she does her meditations, even on her channel as well. And so it was fabulous. It was nice. It gets you nice and centered and ready for the playground experience. So she opens up on her end, and then you come ready and for the playground experience over here. So make sure that you go check her out. It's usually what it's 6 o'clock Central Time. I don't know how it is in Hawaiian time, but she has a beautiful meditation. She taps into your energies. I know a couple of times she was tapping into me. I said she just being quiet, but I know that was me. So you have to tell my business like that, April, when you were doing the meditation. That's all I got to say. But
it's like some people read cards, some people read people.
Right.
Some people do both.
Right.
Divine Sunshine be doing it all.
I'll be doing it all. Yeah, to be all doing it all. And so that's it. Kathy D, she's doing her life hypnotherapy too as well. Hit her up as well on that one too. I do that too as well. But for her, I want her to get her plug for her to be able to go and hit her up as well. So you're interested in that. If you're drawn in there, because even K Moon said that in the month of February and July, it's very big that you go and check out your past lives to see how that is affecting you now, and how in your nowness, in your present life, and how that's affecting you and you doing your patterning. So that's a good thing for you to check out.
We can also plug it our group work. We do the playground experience where you actually can get the view. You're on the bottom now? What happened? Okay, anyway.
We've been going around in circles all night.
Round we go. Okay, but yes, we do work together. So you'll have a session with each of us. And I do, my expertise is I'm more like an exorcist straight up. So I'll open you up and shake out the stuff, right? And then once all the stuff is like kind of shaken up, or you can put it in any order, right? But I would always save Divine Sunshine. I would save Divine Sunshine for last because she can give you all the tools and all the steps for the forthcoming part. I'm going to help you clear out all the root stuff and what's going on in your chakra. But sometimes your past lives pop in, depending on if that's what you want to do with part of your focus with. And Kathy can help you rewrite scripts, which is like a really big deal when you're doing all this work and clearing. So I say, if I want to do anything, go playground package.
Right, that's true too. That's right. That's true. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Past life, but we do have one there for that one too. Let me plug that up on the channel. Yeah, that's a good one too, as well. So that to get all aspects, because it's always good, like a surgeon, you get all different modalities in there to help you out on that. All right, then, ladies, this has been real. Right on the 30 mark too. All right, then, 130. Last one.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for being with us.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
this is
Appreciate
so good. This
that.
is very motivating. Thank
It
you.
is. It is.
Thank you.
Yes, it really is. It's getting me started in so many words that day I have a little moment. That's why I was like, okay, my dog, I like, pull it together. I'm like, oh, baby, look at my baby up there. Look what she's doing. She's going over and beyond what I had studied my classroom and dreams. I'm
Thank you guys again. Oh, don't start.
This is so, she's so proud. That's so sweet, you know,
Thank
to
you.
see
Thank
the
you.
gift. It's like, that's what I'm saying. This is one of the superpowers, right? The touching the hearts and the minds of many. And
Yeah.
it's all coming to show us its face right now. So be proud. I'm be proud. What you gonna do? You get yourself some crab legs for dinner.
There you go.
oh, yeah, you just don't know. That environment there was mighty interesting that I taught in. Mighty
Different. Very different.
interesting. Call it
Yeah.
mighty interesting.
Yeah.
So picture Chicago and picture what we do. They're what we about. And that's the neighborhood that she grew up in. And so
Yeah.
to see her where she is now and in Arizona doing her thing, that just lets you know you don't have to be a product of your environment. You just don't.
Absolutely.
You just
And
don't.
and
Absolutely.
that's the beauty of it. It's like she's fostering the change for that environment, for all the environments. Because why do we even have that? This is a whole nother show. We're about to start another show. I thought we was just what's the failings of society and why are the even ghettos in the first place? And now we got to go back to go
No,
back.
she going down that rabbit hole. She going.
She's going down. She
Bring
better
her
have a
back. Bring her
parachute.
back.
Here we go. Yeah.
Boy, you gonna
I
find
just
us.
got it. Fall, spring, Easter, Christ energy, but also rabbit holes.
Right. You're right. Yeah.
Don't eat the brown jelly beans.
There you go. There you go. All right, sign us on out of here. Get on this out of here. You got your end in April.
Stay
Yeah.
blessed,
Yeah.
stay golden, and remember, you were made for this golden life.
Yes, hey Kathy D.
Remember to shake the virtual sand out of your shoes and socks. Leave it better than you ever found it. And wishing you your best life ever. See you real soon.
All right. Do you got to close it for your what you do for the not the blog?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And until we meet again, stay dope.
All right then. And as always, stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascended. Namaste. Namago. Mwah. Love you. Until next time, we'll be talking to you real soon on the playground.